It's me. Welcome to my channel. When you hear a shooting star streak across the night sky, do you make a wish? Well, if you do, you're not alone. For centuries, people have been mesmerized by these beautiful, mysterious streaks of light. But what exactly is a shooting star? Is it a tiny star that fell from the sky? The answer might surprise you. A shooting star isn't a star at all. It's a small piece of debris burning up in Earth's atmosphere. These pieces of debris can be as small as a grain of sand or as large as a house. As they fall through the atmosphere, they heat up and glow, leaving behind a bright streak of light that we call a shooting star. When you see a shooting star, it may look like a tiny little sparkler, but the reality is that it's moving much faster than the speed of sound. In fact, most shooting stars are traveling at speeds of more than 25 miles per second. That's about 110,000 miles per hour. At that speed, a shooting star can travel across the United States in less than a minute. So what causes these pieces of debris to fall from the sky? Well, there are a few different culprits. One is a comet, which is a ball of ice, dust, and rock that flies around the sun in an elliptical orbit. As the comet approaches the sun, the heat causes some of the ice to vaporize, and this forms a tail that stretches for millions of miles. When the tail of a comet passes the Earth, we may be able to see shooting stars. Another cause is an asteroid, which is a rocky body that orbits the sun. There are millions of asteroids in our solar system, and some of them are several miles wide. When an asteroid passes close to Earth, we may be able to see shooting stars. A third cause is a meteoroid, which is a small piece of rock or dust that has broken off of a larger body. Meteoroids are the most common cause of shooting stars, and they are usually only a few inches wide. When a meteoroid enters the atmosphere, it creates a bright streak of light that we call a meteor. If the meteor is bright enough, we may be able to see it during the day. In this case, we call it a daylight meteor or a fireball. And if the meteor explodes, we call it a super fireball or an bolide. Most shooting stars are only visible for a few seconds, but some can linger in the sky for up to an hour. This is because the piece of debris is slowly burning up in the atmosphere. Eventually, the debris will burn up completely and leave no trace in the sky. So how big is a shooting star? Well, that depends on what you're comparing it to. A meteoroid, which is the small piece of debris that causes a shooting star, can be as small as a grain of sand or as large as a house. However, the average meteoroid is only about an inch wide. When a meteoroid enters the atmosphere, it creates a bright streak of light that we call a meteor. The size of the meteor depends on the size of the meteoroid and the amount of atmospheric friction. A small meteoroid will create a small meteor, while a large meteoroid will create a bright, long-lasting meteor. The color of a shooting star also depends on the amount of atmospheric friction. When a meteoroid first enters the atmosphere, it's very hot and it glows bright yellow or white. As the meteoroid slows down, it's no longer hot enough to glow yellow or white, so it appears darker to us. Most shooting stars are only visible for a few seconds, but some can linger in the sky for up to an hour. This is because the piece of debris is slowly burning up in the atmosphere. Eventually, the debris will burn up completely and leave no trace in the sky. Now that we know what shooting stars are, let's take a closer look at one. Here we go. We'll start out with a tiny rock entering Earth's atmosphere. The rock is moving incredibly fast, and it's hot. The intense heat causes the rock to glow bright yellow, almost white. It looks like a tiny sparkler streaking across the night sky. But don't be fooled by its size. This rock is moving at over 25 miles per second. That's about 110,000 miles per hour. At that speed, the rock could travel across the United States in less than a minute. As the rock continues to fall, it encounters more and more of Earth's atmosphere. The air molecules collide with the rock, slowing it down. The rock is still hot, but it's not as bright as it was before. It starts to lose its glow and appear darker to us. The rock is now moving slower and it's not as hot. The rock finally burns up completely and leaves no trace in the sky. This little show lasted only a few seconds, but that's not the longest one on record. In fact, some shooting stars have been known to last for hours. Imagine seeing a bright streak of light in the sky that lasts for an entire hour. It would be amazing. We've seen a lot of shooting stars, but have you ever seen one during the day? It's called a daylight meteor or a fireball. Fireballs are shooting stars that occur during the day. They're caused by meteoroids that are larger than normal, and they can be very bright. In fact, a fireball can be as bright as the full moon. Fireballs can also last for several minutes, which is much longer than a typical shooting star. If you want to see a fireball for yourself, your best bet is to head out to a rural area with minimal light pollution. You should also try to be patient because fireballs can be rare. Sometimes you might have to wait for hours before you see one. But if you're lucky enough to see a fireball, you won't be disappointed. It's truly a spectacular sight. Some shooting stars are even brighter than fireballs. We call these super fireballs or bolides. Bolides are extremely rare, but they can be very bright. In fact, a bolide can be as bright as the sun. Bolides can also produce a loud explosion, so be prepared to cover your ears if you're near one. In addition to the bright light and explosion, a bolide can also leave behind a bright green trail in the sky. This is due to the hot gases that are released when the bolide explodes. The gases produce a bright green glow that can last for hours. Bolides are extremely rare, and many astronomers believe that they are responsible for some of the craters we see on the moon. A bolide is essentially a meteor that explodes in the atmosphere. The explosion can be so powerful that it leaves behind a permanent scar on the moon. In 1908, there was a bolide over Siberia that is estimated to have been over 300 feet across. This bolide exploded with the force of 12 megatons of TNT. That's equivalent to over 100 times the explosive power of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The blast from the bolide flattened over 80 million trees over 830 square miles. It's considered to be the largest impact event in recorded history. While bolides are rare, they are not the largest objects that have hit Earth. In fact, some asteroids have crashed into Earth and left behind permanent scars. The largest known impact crater on Earth is called the Vredefort crater. It's located in South Africa and is estimated to be 180 miles across and 4 miles deep. The age of the crater is uncertain, but it's thought to be between 2 and 3 billion years old. Another large impact crater is the Chicxulub crater. It's located on the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico and is estimated to be 110 miles across and 12 miles deep. The crater is believed to have been caused by the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. So what would happen if a large asteroid hit Earth today? The answer is not good. An asteroid the size of the one that killed the dinosaurs would cause massive destruction. It would cause earthquakes, tsunamis, and a global climate change. The impact would also throw up so much dust and gas into the atmosphere that it would block out the sun. This would cause darkness and cold to spread across the Earth. People would have to huddle together for warmth while the temperature dropped below zero. Plants would die and food supplies would run out. Humans would struggle to survive in this new world. Many would freeze to death while others would die of starvation. Only a few would survive the impact and the aftermath. A smaller asteroid would cause less damage, but it would still be bad. An asteroid the size of the one that hit Chicxulub would cause earthquakes, tsunamis, and a global climate change. The impact would also throw up a lot of dust and gas into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun and causing darkness and cold to spread across the Earth. People would have to huddle together for warmth while the temperature dropped below zero. Plants would die and food supplies would run out. Humans would struggle to survive in this new world. Some would freeze to death while others would die of starvation. Only a fortunate few would survive the impact and the aftermath. So it's a good thing that NASA is constantly scanning the skies for asteroids that could potentially hit Earth. The space agency is also developing new technologies to help detect and track asteroids. One of these technologies is the Center for Near-Earth Object Studies, or CNEOS. CNEOS uses a network of telescopes to scan the skies for asteroids that could potentially hit Earth. The center also maintains a database of known asteroids and their orbits. Another technology being developed by NASA is the Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or DART. DART is a spacecraft that will be launched in 2021 with the goal of smashing into an asteroid and redirecting its path. This technology could be used in the future to protect Earth from a potentially dangerous asteroid. So while there are always going to be asteroids and other objects floating around out there in space, rest assured that NASA is working hard to keep us safe. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. Have you ever seen a shooting star? Let me know in the comments below.